welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're bringing you one of the last subunits we were sewing together before we start actually sewing the blocks together. Is just a cute little simple block with all the squares and rectangles that you've been cutting. So you can kind of see it here what we're going to do, but first I want to mention the International Stitch Marathon is July 22nd, 2022. It runs from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, so this is how I have no idea. Look at a world map that talks about time zones, and you can see when it starts in your area. Because I try and sit there and figure it out, and I just, no. But anyways, so we would love to see you there. And so come on in a little closer. We'll get to the sewing of the last subunit, and then the next one will be actually sewing the blocks together. Okay, so here we are at the sewing machine. So this is what you're going to do with all your little rectangles and your squares. Now, if you're doing the 3.5 scale, all of this is neutrals or backgrounds or low volumes, right? Like and the reason I broke it up is that if you're doing the 3.5 inch, you could just get away with doing the bigger block, but, like a 6.5 inch, square. But then it doesn't look pieced. And if your scraps aren't small enough, or big enough to cut a 6.5 inch square out of it, well, you're going to have to break it up with, a 3.5 by 6.5, and then, two 3.5 inch squares. Now this scale here is 2 inches by 3.5, and these are both 2 inch squares. Now if you were doing the 2.5 scale, this is 2.5 by 4.5, and these are both 2.5 inch scales. Now if you're doing the 2.5 inch, if you're doing the 2.5 inch scale, you're going to be making 20 blocks in total. The larger one, the 3.5, you're making 16 blocks, right? Where the 2 is you're making the 100 blocks. So, but I'm also making a bigger couch throw, right? So you can, play around with these. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sew our two little pieces together. Now, I have a bunch of leader enders that I got to get done. And I know people have asked not to do this, but I'm just going to start throwing little leader enders through just to move out. This is how I would normally sew, and that's how I get a lot done too. Some of you are asking, like, how do you get so much stuff done? And I'm just like, well, I get it done because I'm constantly doing like a leader ender project. So now what I'm going to do is with this, I'm going to open this up. I could twist it to, push to the light, or, or push to the dark, but I'm going to finger press this wide open. And there's a reason why I'm doing that. I want this seam, when I join it, to be as flat as possible. And if I push this way, I now am sewing through 4 layers of material when I hit this. When I'm quilting, I've got 5 layers of material, because the backing, the batting, and 4 layers of this, right? All of a sudden hitting, and you can end up breaking a needle. So I press it open. I hope you can see how I press that one open. And now I'm just going to take my time, line it up. Because if this 1/4 inch seam is too chubby, these pieces are going to be short, right? The top two are going to be short. Now if it's too thin, it's going to be too long, right? If you're going to use ease, right, you would put the longest, if this is too long, you put this under, right? You put the biggest piece to the bottom, right? And if it's too short, you put this plaid to the bottom. But this seems to, it seems like I'm right on the money when it comes to this 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to run this through. Yeah, I'm going to put another crumb block through. These are kind of fun. You just, whatever goes through, goes through. There. Okay. So, now I'm just going to flip this backwards like that. And that's going to help get a very flat block, just like that. Now, the other thing, I mean, I know you've got a few layers here. You got 4 layers, which is better than, you know, all of a sudden having, like, you know, you still have 4 layers here. Like, we could press it this way, but you're still at some point going to have 4 layers to deal with. It does feel flatter when you're doing it this way, right? For some reason. So we get into a debate of pressing open or laying over to the side and which seam is stronger and all the rest of the stuff. When you're quilting it, this one has been pushed over and your quilting is going to keep it, you know, kind of together, but as it pops, you have room to repair it. Where if this one pops open after years of wear, then you've got a hole, right? So, you know, this is kind of where you're like, well, okay, which one is stronger, which is, but the goal is flat, right? So whichever one works for you to do a flat seam. So, you know, this is kind of like you kind of have to make some decisions. I'm using good thread, everything, so it probably should hold up okay. So anyways, let's see what we got here now at the end. So what do you think of our cute, our just little darling quarter square triangle? I just think it's really cute and it's going to look really lovely in the corner of our quilt. Now, next time, the next video that's coming up, we'll start sewing our subunits together and laying out our, like putting our block together. And I'll show you how the easiest way to put your block together. It doesn't matter which scale you're using. They don't make too many of these right away because, you know, depending on which scale you picked, you know, you might need them for other areas of the block. The scale 2 inches doesn't have sashing, doesn't have a piece sashing. So, you know, we're eliminating a sash. Remember the case studies with the friendship star? We added the friendship star and made it into sashing, and then we put other blocks around it. Well, we're now eliminating the piece sashing. So to make a totally different quilt. Anyways, one of the other things we're going to talk to you about today, our plan, was we were planning on doing this as a sew along. I have some ideas that could make this a little easier. We can make this for a sewing machine or hand sewing. All the Y seams in here does lend it to, you know, the ease of hand sewing. But I mean, we could definitely do something with the sewing machine with this. The other thing I was going to mention is the International Stitch Marathon is July 22nd and at 2022 at 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, so that's my time zone. If you're wondering when it starts in your area, please check the time zone maps and they'll tell you. Because if you're from the UK, Australia, or New Zealand, you know, it could be a different day when you start. So who knows? It's going to be fun. We are going to do Dresden's case study after this. And then we're going to do Curved Boot Camp. Now, Curved Boot Camp talks about all the blocks that I can possibly think of that have curves in them. And we're going to teach you how to sew curves. But the Dresden's is going to be a very typical, like, or case study, like how we came up with the case studies in the last ones where we did the churn dash and we did the friendship star. The Dresden's is going to be a case study very similar to that, well, with a few little exceptions. You know, we're going to have some fun with it, and we might do, you know, a different quilt. The other thing, if you don't want to do this quilt along as a quilt along, what we can do is I have an idea for another quilt, another kind of mystery sew along, and hopefully we're going to get this all done by the end of the year. But let us know what you want to do, or, you know, whether you just want to do a Dresden, like a Dresden case study, and then Curves Boot Camp. I mean, Curves Boot Camp could take like 3 months because there's lots of blocks with curves that even if you made half of them, you could make yourself a beautiful lap quilt or a couch throw. So let us know in the comments below. I'm looking forward to the July 22nd Stitch Marathon, and I just hope it just all comes together for everybody so that we can all get together and sew. Let us know if you're coming too, because that would be really helpful to see whether or not we need a larger Zoom meeting, like what they call it, webinars or something. I don't know what they call it actually. It's something my husband does. It's an IT thing. It's his baby to look at. So, but yeah, so it's going to be fun. I've got lots of stuff on the go right now, and I'm trying to get everything ready. And I'm also working on Christmas gifts. Yes, I know it's July. I'm working on Christmas gifts. It's like. And I also have got donated a friend's stash that she passed away and last year from cancer, so I'm trying to sort through that as well. And she loved Christmas, so I have all her Christmas prints as well. Let us know if you want Christmas ideas or Christmas quilt ideas. You know, fast Christmas quilts that you can make for gifts. I mean, we can do that. We can throw that in there too. So, anyways, I hope you have a joyful and blissful week ahead in your sewing room, and I hope you don't run out of thread, and I hope you don't break needles and all this other good stuff. So I hope you have a fabulous creative week. Okay, you take care and bye. My husband and I would like to thank you for watching today. We're so happy about the way our channel has grown, and we just want to wish you so well in your journey along with us. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends. Now, the next thing is this quilt. We are wondering if you guys would like this quilt as a free sew along on this channel this fall, this coming fall, winter. We were kind of thinking that this one would be really fun to do. We could do it in a larger size or a smaller size. It's up to you, but this one was a lot of fun to make. And it lends itself to being hand stitched, but you can also do this on a sewing machine as well. So let us know in the comments below. Remember, share, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Okay, have a great week ahead. Bye!